The lawyer's voice cracked on the third sentence. Not loud, not dramatic, just a fracture like ice under weight. "Mr. Hale," he said, suddenly respectful, suddenly careful. "There appears to be a complication." I stared at the city through my office window. Rain sliding down the glass, traffic honking below, life moving on, indifferent. I didn't answer him right away. I wanted him to sit in that silence, to feel it press against his ears the way fear presses against the chest. 2 days earlier, they'd handed me papers and threats. Now they were calling me like I mattered again. I still remember the smell of coffee on the contract. Burnt. My wife had placed it in front of me like an offering or a dare sign. My stepson said he didn't raise his voice. He didn't. Me too. His hand rested on the back of my chair like ownership, or you'll regret it. I looked at her. 23 years of marriage, of shared dinners, of building something that wasn't supposed to crack this way. She didn't look back. That hurt more than the threat. I signed slowly, calmly, my hand steady enough to offend them. Then I stood up, picked up my coat, and left the house I paid for. Without saying goodbye. They thought I was defeated. That was their first mistake. I met him when he was 10, skinny, angry, carrying the kind of silence kids learn too early. I taught him how to ride a bike, how to throw a punch without breaking his wrist. I sat through parent-teacher meetings when his real father couldn't bother. I paid for his law school. I should have noticed how gratitude curdled into entitlement. The jokes about my inheritance. The way my wife stopped correcting him when he spoke to me like an employee. The way documents started disappearing from my home office. Love makes you generous with blind spots. Betrayal knows how to hide in them. The first real warning came months before the papers. My name removed from a property document by mistake. A new company formed using a familiar shell structure. Whispers. When I entered rooms, I told myself I was tired, paranoid, that families don't turn into boardrooms. That was mistake number 2. After I left, I didn't go to a hotel. I went to my old office. The one I kept for tax reasons. The one none of them had keys to. I poured a drink and sat in the dark. Grief came first. Heavy, familiar. Then anger tried to stand up. I pushed it back down. Anger rushes. Strategy waits. I started observing instead of reacting. Emails forwarded quietly. Bank statements reviewed at dawn. Phone records requested under old agreements they forgot I controlled. They were stealing from me. They were stealing through me. My signature, my companies, my credit, all leveraged to build something new. Something designed to push me out and leave me holding the liability. The moment I saw my name tied to a loan I never authorized, something inside me went cold and clear. Pain turned into precision. I didn't confront them. I copied files, timestamped them, logged every inconsistency. I called favors I'd earned decades ago and never spent. Old partners, a compliance officer who still owed me his career, an auditor who hated my steps and on-site. I let them keep thinking I was gone. That was the third mistake. The plan didn't arrive fully formed. It assembled itself piece by piece, clause by clause, silence by silence. I remembered the power of a signature and what happens when it's forged. I remembered the difference between ownership and control. I remembered who built the system they were trying to weaponize. The day the lawyer called, I already knew. He'd found the filings. The shell company. The forged amendments submitted after I left. He'd realized the contracts I signed were invalidated by a clause buried so deep my stepson never thought to read it. The clause I'd written. Mr. Hale, the lawyer said. Voice then, now we may need to revisit the agreement. I smiled for the first time in days. The collapse didn't happen quietly. It happened at 907 meters on a Tuesday. Accounts frozen, regulators notified. Emergency board meetings called. My wife learned through her phone vibrating non-stop during a spa appointment. My stepson learned when security asked him to step away from his own office. The sound he made, half anger, half panic, wasn't satisfying. The silence afterward was they tried to call me. I didn't answer. They tried again. I let it ring. Then I walked into the building they thought I'd lost. Security nodded. Recognize me? That recognition tasted like justice. The boardroom smelled like stress and cold coffee. My stepson was pale. Smaller somehow. The confidence drained out of him like bad blood. You planned this? He said. I sat down calm, measured. You planned against me, I replied. My wife didn't speak. She couldn't meet my eyes. She'd backed the wrong player and finally knew it. The lawyer cleared his throat. Mr. Hale retains controlling interest. he said, and legal immunity from the liabilities incurred. My stepson slammed his hand on the table. After everything you took, I corrected. The room went quiet. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten.